Hi, Zach and Jesse. Alan Johnson here with your EV tip of the week about brake burnishing. This is a process that cleans the rust off your rotors. As you and many of your viewers already know, if you don't use your friction brakes much, rust will build up on the rotors over time. Now, Tesla and hopefully other EV manufacturers have figured out to use higher quality rotors because regenerative braking makes your friction brakes much less active. So the rust won't build up as fast as if you leave an ice car, typical ice car, undriven for a while, but it does happen. For example, after almost 3 years, my Model Y failed inspection for the first time because of this. So I contacted Tesla service. They said the brakes had never been burnished before and recommended that before a brake job. Of course, if they're very rusty, then it won't be sufficient to do this, but luckily for me, the trick worked and saved me about $1,500. If you do a lot of hard braking or drive on a full battery a lot, this might not be necessary, but it's a good idea to do at least once a year. Doing it a few days before an inspection might be a good way to remember. If you live in an area like we do where they put salt on the roads in the winter, twice a year is probably a good idea. I'm going to do it whenever I get my winter tires swapped on and off, and that should keep them clean and ready to go. You can see here that it is one of the DIY maintenance items that Tesla suggests, and it should work on just about any EV. So if you have a non-Tesla EV, maybe pause here to read the instructions. Or just go search for it on the do-it-yourself area in the service.tesla.com. But if you do have a Tesla, then you don't need to worry about any of this because there's actually a guided brake burnishing process in service mode. If you sign up for the free subscription at service.tesla.com as a Tesla owner, you can get the service guide, which tells you how to get into service mode and loosely refers to the brake burnishing without telling you exactly where it is. So I'll show you how to access both to save you time. Service mode is hidden not in the service menu, but in the software menu. You just press and hold on the vehicle description for a few seconds. You get a little flash that you might not have been able to see on the video, but you let go and you should get a password prompt. If not, go back, try it again, and press a little longer. The password is just service, not the biggest secret in the world. And then you get this warning, which you should read and heed. Service mode is a very sharp knife, so be careful in here. Some of the settings in here can void your warranty, even make your car unsafe. So don't play around with changing things. It's safe to click around and look at all the things you can look at. And it's kind of fun to see all the different stuff, but just don't change any settings and you'll be fine. I found several videos online that seem to be out of date. They show the full process, so they might be worth watching, but they show the brake burnishing button here. At some point, Tesla moved it under chassis, brakes, brake burnishing. Of course, read and heed the warnings. The process is pretty straightforward. Spend some time reading the warnings, the description, and the instructions before you try to begin the process and get it on the road. Be aware that as soon as you go into this mode, the car is going to go into chill acceleration and regenerative braking is completely turned off. So make sure you are pulled off in a place where you can get a feel for this without any other traffic or obstacles before you continue with the process. It's not entirely different than jumping behind the wheel of a car you haven't driven before, but it's significant, so play around with it before you proceed. Once you've read the instructions carefully, these bars will make sense. The top bar shows how hard you're pushing on the brake pedal, and it turns green when you have pressed hard enough. It stays red and then it gets the first part turns green. If you go too far, it turns red again. Similarly, this speed bar will be red until it fills up to about 48 miles per hour, at which point it'll chime and turn green. At that point, you want to make sure there's nobody behind you, you're not coming up into a curve, and then start pressing on the brake pedal, get it between those two bars quickly, and keep it there until the speed gets down to about 10 miles an hour. You'll hear another chime, at which point you take off the brake and drive normally. And the cool down will fill up with blue and start counting down 25 seconds. After that, if you did everything right, the cycle count will increase. You'll get a little bit of blue here. And you just repeat that process 9 more times. It'll tell you you're done and your brakes are burnished. At that point, pull over, exit the guide, put the car in park, and then you can exit service mode. Back on the main screen here, just press and hold here where it says exit service mode until it fills up gray and let go. And a few seconds later, your car will be ready to drive just like normal again. Now, you're not going to be slamming on the brakes here, but if somebody's behind you and not paying attention or following too close, there could be trouble. At the very least, you're going to annoy and confuse anyone behind you. So make sure the road is clear back there first. So that leads me to one final tip. Just to help you avoid something that's mildly annoying is when you're in the guided mode, if you have to put the car into reverse for some reason, you lose the guided mode. You put it back in drive, it's gone. You can get back into it in service. There's no brake burnishing button until you put it back in park. Then you can go back into the brake burnishing mode, but your progress has been lost. So it's not a huge deal. You can just start over. It doesn't hurt to do a few more cycles or just do as many as you had left if you remember how many you had left. But to avoid that, use a pull-off or parking lot that lets you turn around without reversing when you're getting out of the way and letting cars pass you. Remember, be polite and safe. Make sure no one's behind you. Of course, you want to make sure the roads are clear and it's not raining. Just, be smart about it. Don't want to be braking hard unnecessarily in bad conditions. And the only downside of this is it does wear your brake pads a little bit, but that's exactly what they're designed for, and they are way cheaper and easier to replace than rotors. So hopefully that helps us all keep our brakes in good shape so that they're when we need them. And now you know.